Let's get to it. Courtesy of our own David Silberg. Coming up in 2026 via PBS, Black and Jewish America, an interwoven history, hosted by Emmy-winning Henry Louis Gates Jr. I do want to shamelessly plug. Actually, I'm going to shamelessly plug it in a minute. I'll come back to that. Let's watch this.
When I was growing up, I only thought of race in terms of black and white. It wasn't until much later, when I learned about anti-Semitism, that I realized blacks and Jews face common enemies. But when we stand together, we are a formidable force.
So we just looked at some of the mythology of the history of the civil rights era as it relates to boycotts. Now we're getting the mythology regurgitated about in terms of that civil rights era, in terms of as it relates to Black and Jewish relationships. This is so. One thing I am going to shamelessly plug is invite folks to check out my limited, discussions about questioning what we think we understand about the history of Jews. Not because I think Black people need some overture to make and owe anyone anything, quite the opposite. But what we are owed, that is what Black people are owed, is an honest assessment and analysis, and we just don't get it. So whether it's from some of the conservative nationalism that is just more interested in being anti-European Jew, or whether it's this rabid liberal Zionist approach from Henry Louis Gates that is wanting to be rabidly Zionist and in defense of European Jews, we're not getting the Black community specifically, but the world is not getting an appropriate and accurate enough analysis about what the hell is going on here.
The relationship between African Americans and Jews in the United States, it's not a simple story, and it cannot be a simple story.
It's got a really long history.
When these two communities get together and they synergize creatively or politically, they're a juggernaut and they can't be stopped.
Jewish people have always been some of the first outside of the culture itself to embrace Black music.
A white Jewish.
But why? Why? Or why'd I just go blank on his name too? He wrote that book, The Head Nigger in Charge, did he call it HNIC at the time? I think he didn't. I think what's his name? He's often been interviewed in these. It'll come back to me. But why is the question? So it's the same thing I keep wanting to ask when people want to say, well, Jews are to be blamed and condemned for this, that, and the third. Why? Why are we? What is the exact reasoning behind why European Jews end up in a certain situation historically, so on and so on? And the same thing here. Why are Jews the so-called first to be there? And to what extent is that actually true? And to what extent has that helped Black people towards a more radical liberation as opposed to what exists today? And so there's just so many questions that I'm not confident are going to be appropriately either asked or answered in this series. But we definitely gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch
Producer and the greatest Black jazz singer of all time. Why can't the world be like this?
And then we got Billy Crystal. So it's Black scholars. Please don't tell me they're doing this. Todd Boyd. Thank you, Chitty Matcha. That's exactly right. Thank you. Todd Boyd. Thank you very much. Please don't tell me we're going to do it this way, though. We're going to have what are supposed to be the elite Black intellects, and then we're just going to go get white actors and celebrities and jazz musicians. Please don't tell me they're going to do that.
Rabbi Heschel was told he might not live because they're killing folk in Selma.
And did you all read that book years ago that Cornel West, they called it co-wrote, but it was really an editing of interviews with, forgot Rabbi such and such on Black Jewish relations years ago. And it was, all I really remember from it was that it was, again, sort of that false narrative praise song to the way I took it at the time certainly was what black people are supposed to owe Jews for their relative freedom, and it just was really bothersome and troublesome. And even at one point, if I remember correctly, descended into one of those Farrakhan is the problem type things. Now it's just so irritating. But
I think the civil rights movement healed our souls after Nazi Germany.
Now imagine that. Please, oh my God. Because remember, everybody, the quote that I use from Derek Bell all the time came out of an essay that he wrote for that anthology Strangers and Neighbors years ago, which was about the relationship between black people and Jews. And one of the points that he was trying to make in distinguishing the difference in experience was why he made that point that I quote all the time about public policy in the United States being the equivalent of taking hundreds of black people a week out to a secluded place and shooting them. That, so that's where we are today. So to hear, and I know we're just hearing a clip here, but to hear a Jew saying that the civil rights movement was how they healed from the Nazi Holocaust. How did he put it again? This
movement healed our souls after Nazi Germany.
So what does that mean? What does that mean? So again, the civil rights movement becomes writ large, the magical Negro for Jews to transcend a prior horror. Come on, man! Don't come on, man. We could learn a lot. We could actually learn a lot about people's backgrounds and histories and why things do and don't happen.
A very visible Black-Jewish alliance during the civil rights movement.
There you go. Oh my God. There you go.
Relationship accomplished incredible things.
But I don't want to romanticize the alliance because it wasn't an untroubled relationship.
We want black power.
And look at what he's doing. I'm going to show you. I'm going to come back to this in a second. We definitely going to come back to this. Look at what he's doing. So the problem is the Zionism question and the black power rights and Stokely Carmichael, who we know you hate. And we know Peniel has done a horrible job academically in covering the life of
sense of the Jews are the haves, the blacks are the have-not.
Uhuru Williams, they got everybody in this. This is listen. We see Billy Crystal, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know who the Jews are in this one. So I'll learn by the time this thing comes out. I don't know so far. I'm not clear on who the pundit Jews are for this one. But the black pundits is the black academic, bougie, elite, superstar lineup. So if all the Jews are going to be asked to bring is Billy Crystal style and level of contribution, this is already going to be another level of disrespect. Because even if I disagree with, and I do, all of the framing that these black elite scholars are bringing, they're still, quote unquote, the best of the best. And if they're not being asked to meet their Jewish peers, and all they got to deal with is Billy Crystal, this is going to be even worse than I can imagine.
Nothing has separated the Jewish and the black community more than this issue of affirmative
Thomas
action.
Sowell.
It's dangerous to make it all the same.
Look
We're not
at
the
all
same.
the
We come from
superstars.
different histories.
I don't consider myself white. And when I once told our class that, they laughed in my face. You laughed in my face.
I did.
Blacks and Jews in the
As he
Crown
should.
Heights section of Brooklyn clashed, inflamed by the death of a young boy.
The old alliance between blacks and Jews, is that in jeopardy now?
Very much so.
We must not allow.
Because what could the alliance have been? See, that's the question. What could the alliance have been to end up with the Crown Heights incident? And we're gonna, oh my goodness. So folks, if you have good essays and good historical sources to remind us about the Crown Heights incident, please send it my way. I mixwhatilike@gmail.com because we're going to have to revisit that as well.
The relationship between Jews and African Americans to suffer.
The whole purpose of this meal is to let you know we are Jews too.
In Charlottesville,
what? Oh my
violent protests broke out at what was supposed to be a white nationalist rally.
When you see Charlottesville, you see that most people that are anti-Semites are also racist.
Now that is true. That is true. That's true. But that doesn't mean, but what is that supposed to mean? Is that going to be used to mean that therefore Jews and black people are in fact in alignment and have been, just because Nazis hate all of us equally? Because but anyway, but that is true.
When everything blew up on campus, I wasn't sure about how I would navigate the conversation.
That's going to be amazing.
To all the rancor,
what is Henry Louis Gates going to say about Palestine and the campus? Oh my goodness.
When it makes us uncomfortable.
It's dangerous because it's a really hard time to talk about either black people or Jewish people. It's just become fraught in so many ways. But anything that's dangerous is worthwhile.
So if it's dangerous, we're going to put it in the hands of Henry Louis Gates and PBS. So, all right. So we're just going to have to revisit this. So, all right. I'm going to take up 6 more minutes of your time and replay this video. And I'll be right back. But just as a reminder let me just so forgive me for the repeat, but this seems appropriate. So I was asked again recently, what exactly are my issues with Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr.? And aside from the beer summit, and aside from his previous statements about being an intellectual entrepreneur, I think I can do this in 2 short clips. I mix what I like. An in-depth, long discussion or review of Skip Gates and his career is not the point or focus or intent of this relatively short video. Suffice it for now to say, he's had a long and distinguished career, and for many, he is seen as sort of an overall dean of Black studies nationwide. He has a tremendous amount of influence in academia, increasingly over pop culture and its discussions and presentations of Africana history. And his career and position is one that Dr. Peniel Joseph, who you'll see in one of these clips, has said directly to me at one point that he aspires to. More on that in a second. That to me in so many ways speaks to Gates's approach, particularly to Black radical traditions and their discussion, presentation, scholarship about those traditions. And as we'll see in this clip, why he still feels the way he does about Kwame Ture, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael. In this clip, he's talking to Professor Peniel Joseph about what was then his new book about Kwame Ture, titled Stokely, A Life. My review linked in the show description. More on that another time. Let's get to this clip.
Okay, yourself. In this brilliant book, man, I've read every word of this book in galleys, as he knows. There are 385 pages, counting the index. And 253.
And people call me
the
petty.
Prime Minister of Afro-America. Is he still in the States?
He's still in the States.
Oh, it gets worse. 277 of these pages are about Stokely Carmichael's first 29 years. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
His first 29 years of life. The last, how many pages? Are about the next 30 years.
Yeah, but that's
next 40
I'll talk about that. I actually want to talk about that. Yeah.
Let me see.
I've been asked about that. Yeah.
Okay, the next, let me do the math here. 52 pages.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What kind of life can you write about a biography about somebody who you want us to believe remained politically significant, and not even you, who loves Stokely Carmichael? Not even you could get more than 52 pages out of
Oh
the
no,
reels
you
the last
could no,
32 years.
absolutely you can. I mean, this was a decision. Part of the decision that was both an intellectual decision and one of resources. And how are you going to reintroduce?
So more on my thoughts on that book and Joseph's scholarship in that book in my review. All right, yeah. So that covers that. So you can see how they're going to set it up so that that Kwame Ture becomes the fall guy for why black people are anti-Semites. I mean, that's my prediction here today. We'll see how that turns out. Yeah, that was insufferable. There and yeah, for anyone to, I mean, yes, for however petty I am, nothing is more petty than Henry Louis Gates sitting up there and talking about why Peniel wrote so little about Kwame Ture's life at the end of his life, as if this was the fault of Ture and not the fault of a poor scholar doing poor scholarship, despite all the resources and talent and capability in the world. Because Peniel is not stupid and Peniel is not a bad writer. So, and he has plenty of money and plenty of time and assistance and whatever you would need to write all the good work you would need to write. And for Gates to sit up there and make that seem like this is the fault of Ture and his irrelevance post 1975, and not the fault of Joseph and his horrific scholarship, it exposes them. And that guy and the reality is, no one will say this publicly who wants any form of career in certainly in Black studies, maybe anywhere in academia. So you have to get somebody whose career has already hit its peak or done what it's going to do to even have anybody offer up this criticism publicly. The amount of off the record, Jared, you're right, but that I've gotten over the years is immense on this issue. It's immense. But nobody's going to say it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And then as I continue to say I was right about, they get recycled. So people have been telling me, why you're doing this is why. They keep coming back. And whoever Peniel is preparing to take his place, because remember, he told me himself, I want to be the next Henry Louis Gates. As he begged me to get Bruce Dixon to take, man, these guys are they're cowards on they're intellectual cowards, they're people cowards. It's disgusting. Please get Bruce to take down his Black Agenda report. So you can be unfettered in producing this nonsense. Oh, now you want me to snitch on the people who No, you know what? That's legit. And you know why I won't do it? Is because I don't want to go through the backlash in these spaces that I would have to suffer. That's the reality. My career is irrelevant. I don't care about the mainstream academic career world. But the reality is, and this is something I've been, I don't know, we're going to have some more conversations about this at some point in some way, or I'm going to have to be involved to the extent that they're happening. But there's too much cliquishness among what is supposed to be the revolutionary left. So if I were to name the names and call out the people who have said this to me, it would just the backlash against it would be a backlash against me and what very, very and diminishing space that I'm welcome in these spaces that are important to me, I would lose. So I get it, and now I'm just admitting it that this is the space that I would be ceding, these spaces, if I did that. So what the people who say to me they don't want to say it publicly, what they're admitting is that they don't want to cede the spaces that Gates and them are in. I don't want to be in those spaces. I couldn't be in those spaces. So in some, so I'm, maybe it's all relative. Maybe I could claim some better because of the political space I'm trying to stay within. But the reality is I'm not doing anything that much different.
I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.